With the first overall pick in the NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. The Jacksonville Jaguars need a lot of help right now, but most importantly, they need to protect their star quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had a down year his rookie year, throwing 12 touchdowns to 17 interceptions and leading the Jaguars to a 3-14 record. A large part of this was due to the fact that he was sacked 32 total times throughout his first year in the National Football League. This almost averages out to 2 sacks per game. Evan Neal, on the other hand, while at Alabama, allowed less than 10 sacks for his entire career. Now, Evan Neal in college played both guard and left tackle, but ended off at left tackle. Looking at both of the Jacksonville Jaguars' current tackles, Jawan Taylor has a grade of 60.4 according to Pro Football Focus, and Cam Robinson, their current left tackle, has a Pro Football Focus rating of 67.4 and only allowed 1 total sack the entire year. So while Evan Neal might not start initially at left tackle, he'll probably start in a guard position or potentially replacing Jawan Taylor at the right tackle position. While I don't think he'll stay at the right tackle or a guard position for long, he definitely gives them an option to help protect Trevor Lawrence and build up that offensive line that will hopefully lead to a resurgent year for the Jaguars in the upcoming season. With the second pick in the NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end, Michigan. The Detroit Lions are in a very similar position to the Jacksonville Jaguars, except they do not have a franchise quarterback to lean on. Instead, they're in the midst of what seemed to be a lost season, but ended off with some hopes. Aiden Hutchinson is coming off a career at Michigan where he had 156 total tackles, 5 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and most importantly, 18.5 sacks. Looking at the Detroit Lions' current 2 defensive ends, Michael Brockers and Nick Williams recorded only a single sack for the entire past season, and Pro Football Focus both gave them a grade at or below 50. Hutchinson has great defensive fundamentals, and while he might be a little bit raw coming out immediately, he has all the tools necessary to grow into a great defensive end. Most importantly, he's a local star who will help attract more fans to come check out Detroit Lions games next year. With the third pick in the NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Thibodeaux, defensive end, Oregon. While many people believe that the Houston Texans would be looking for a quarterback in the upcoming draft, Davis Mills started this year and was a huge shock to many, setting in place a long-term quarterback option for the Houston Texans. Now, the Texans are looking to find their new captain on the defensive side following J.J. Watt's departure and a failed experiment with Jadeveon Clowney. Thibodeaux has totaled 126 total tackles during his time at Oregon, 3 forced fumbles, and 19 sacks. Thibodeaux has great upside and was consistently considered to be an option for the number 1 overall pick throughout the entirety of this past college football season. Drafting Thibodeaux will give the Texans a great foundation and could be the piece that keeps their rebuild going on the defensive side of the ball. He'd also be a great option to pair with current defensive end Jonathan Grenard, who is one of the most underrated players in the NFL at the position. Pro Football Focus gave him an 82.9 grade, and he totaled 8 sacks and 2 forced fumbles last season. Pairing Grenard with Thibodeaux would give the Houston Texans a great defensive end duo and could lead to them becoming a defensive powerhouse next year. With the 4th pick in the NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame. Hamilton is coming off a career at Notre Dame where he had 138 total tackles, 8 interceptions, and 1 interception for a touchdown return. The New York Jets recently drafted Zach Wilson last year and are looking to bolster both the options around him and the options on their defensive side. The New York Jets are coming off a Jamal Adams trade a few years back where they currently have been unable to fill the hole that they once had at safety. Their 2 starting safeties this season were less than subpar, Ashton Davis had a grade of 60.7 according to Pro Football Focus, with only 2 interceptions through the entire year. Elijah Riley, the other safety, had a Pro Football Focus grade of 58.1 and had a total of 0 interceptions throughout the entire year. Kyle Hamilton will be an immediate game changer and will probably line up next to Davis in the safety slot. He will be a great option for the Jets and will really help solidify their secondary on the defensive end. With the 5th pick in the NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Akim Ekwonu, offensive tackle, NC State. The New York Giants are one of the most up and down teams throughout the year. Sometimes they look great, and when they get on a run, they are really on a run, and at other times it looks like they are perhaps the worst team in the NFL. And nothing comes down to that more than the fact that their offensive line has been a major issue for them for the past couple seasons. If you want to see proof of that, look no further than Saquon Barkley, who has struggled coming back from injuries to get back going because how bad the offensive line is. Enter Akim Ekwonu. He allowed only a total of 10 sacks and less than 10 quarterback hits during his time at NC State. He's also 6'4", which means that he will be a large force for defensive ends to mess with while rushing the passer. He'd be a great addition alongside Andrew Thomas, who had a 78.9 grade from Pro Football Focus and only allowed 2 total sacks this past year. If the Giants draft Akim, he should be a great addition to their offensive line. With the 6th pick in the NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State. The Carolina Panthers started the year looking like a playoff contender and ended in shambles. The Panthers have been missing star running back Christian McCaffrey for the previous 2 seasons, mostly because of his injury concerns. When he's on the field, he has proven to be one of the best running backs in the league, but when he's not, it completely changes their entire offensive strategy. This means with McCaffrey out, that quarterback Sam Darnold will be the leader of the offense. Darnold might not be a top quarterback in the NFL, but he has shown promise, given the opportunity to throw the ball and make calculated decisions if the offensive line holds up. When he is required to act under pressure, he is prone to mistakes and will easily turn the ball over multiple times a game. Cross only allowed 8 total sacks in college, along with 6 quarterback hits. The Panthers compare him alongside Taylor Moton, who received a 77.5 grade from Pro Football Focus and only allowed 1 sack through the entirety of last season. Adding Cross to this already good foundation at left and right tackle would give the Panthers a solid pass rush blocking option for Sam Darnold to have more time in the pocket and be less prone to stupid mistakes. With the 7th pick in the NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback, LSU. While Stingley might have fallen from being one of the consensus top 3 picks in this draft to being someone who could either go within the top 10 or fall all the way down to 15, Stingley still has a lot to offer. During his time at LSU, he compiled 73 total tackles, 6 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. The New York Giants could use some major help within their cornerback duo. While Adoree Jackson had a great year, only allowing for 34 total receptions in coverage, James Bradberry has not worked out as well. James Bradberry allowed 60 receptions while he was in coverage, which is the 7th highest in the league. The addition of Stingley should add an immediate impact, pairing him next to Jackson, and should make a dynamic duo in the backfield for the New York Giants. With the 8th pick in the NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. After having an awful year, the NFC South seems wide open for the Atlanta Falcons. They don't have to deal with Tom Brady anymore as he has retired, and Sean Payton has left the Saints in a very precarious position. This means that if the Falcons play their cards right, they could once again win the NFC South. The biggest thing for them, however, will be finding a replacement for Calvin Ridley, who at the moment is considered to be a top trade candidate for the Atlanta Falcons. If they want to make the most of Matt Ryan's final year, replacing Ridley with someone like Garrett Wilson would be a serviceable option. Wilson comes in having career totals of 143 receptions, 2,213 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 15.5 yards on average per catch. Wilson should pair up nicely with Russell Gage and Kyle Pitts, and don't be surprised if with this addition the Falcons find themselves at the top of the NFC South for Matt Ryan's final year. With the 9th pick in the NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Kenny Pickett, quarterback, Pitt. Since the departure and retirement of Peyton Manning, the Denver Broncos have tried with various quarterbacks, most recently with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Luck, but none of them have worked out. Kenny Pickett could be a serviceable quarterback coming in from Pitt. Pickett has career totals of 12,303 yards, 81 touchdowns, 32 interceptions on a 62.4% completion percentage. Pickett, at best, could end up being a high-end quarterback. He might not ever be a star, but he will be a serviceable quarterback who could fill a role for your team for a few years. Someone in the mold of Joe Flacco. In a low end, he'll still be a serviceable quarterback. Perhaps someone like Tyrod Taylor who could be a backup on a good team or even start on a medium-level team. However, one of the biggest things going in Pickett's favor is the fact that, unlike many other teams who are rebuilding with new quarterbacks, he already has weapons in Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, and Noah Fant heading into Denver. While Pickett might not be a clear-cut star quarterback in the making, he'd be a very serviceable option for the next few years in Denver.
As the last 2 years.
Pick in the NFL Draft.
Karlaftis has him and he's brought down. It'll be close.
Karlaftis is one of the three defensive ends that will most likely be taken in the first round.
Coletto met
Karlaftis trap
like
game
Stingley,
right now because I'm not
anywhere
sure how
from
ready
the top
Purdue
10
is.
all the way down to number 20.
A week one filled with a lot of FCS winners.
This really fill a hole that the Jets desperately
Connecticut 4 wide.
Karlaftis
pressuring, ball loose. Almost intercepted as it died out in front of Marvin Grant. And Karlaftis with the hit. Third and 8. He's the Greek freak for a reason. No one picked him up. Ball loose.
That was a flip forward. That was a pass. Well, let's see if there's a strip involved here. The way the ball came out, it was stripped. Okay.
The Jets just need to continue to
aside, just weren't able to make the tackle.
To grow young talent.
But they're trying to step up, and this time the ball went
back into the lap of the quarterback.
Potential of being a
He's lining up all over the place.
Is someone they should definitely consider drafting at the 10th pick.